Brutal arena-based gladiatorial combat can be a blast, and I just got done playing a game featuring just that in Story of a Gladiator. But is this Colosseum-based combat worth celebrating? Or should this one just be fed to the lions? Story of a Gladiator is a 2D hack and slash where you're playing as a no-name gladiator who's trying to earn his freedom after his family, friends, and everything else he knows has been burned to the ground by the evil Romans. The game is broken up into 3 different settings or arena types, with 12 battles in each, culminating with a boss fight at the end of each one of them. All of the action takes place in an arena. You're not exploring worlds or going through levels, platforming, or anything like that. It's just you versus the wave after wave of enemies, and once you clear out all the enemies, you've completed that battle, and you move on to the next. After finishing each one, you're given an up to 3-star rating, as well as your rewarded experience, where you can level up to level 15 and gain stat points for various new skills, as well as money that you can use to upgrade and buy new equipment. Almost everything in the game, from the combat, upgrading of the characters, and even just the overall presentation, is pretty basic. The entire game uses that kind of flash animation style for all of its character motions, which for me isn't something that I'm really a big fan of, and I know many out there aren't as well. There's an okay variety to the enemies and enemy types, but it's a lot of reskins. For example, there are different tigers, lions, and such, but it's the same kind of model, just colored differently. Enemy attack patterns, and even your own, are very simple. You only have one button that you use to attack. You gain a few new skills as the game goes on, where you can hold down the trigger button in order to use one of the face buttons to do a jump attack or a move that decapitates enemies if you hit them with it and it's the final blow to them. You do have a shield to block enemy attacks, though it can't block every enemy attack, as well as a dodge roll that you can earn that's very effective. Each one of the special moves, including blocking, takes up some of your stamina, so you can only do a limited number of them in a row before that stamina meter fills and you become exhausted for a second, giving the enemies on screen a good opportunity to gang up on you. Most enemies one-on-one are extremely easy to deal with. Either just straight up attack them before they're able to make contact with you, or just a simple one block and then a series of attacks from you is usually enough to take out a majority of enemies in the game. Where things get difficult is when there's a lot of enemies on screen, and if they're attacking you from both the left and right side, there's no invulnerability frame, so they can just hit you over and over again, and sometimes it can be hard to get out of the way before your entire health bar is drained. At the beginning of the game, you get to choose your origin, whether from Greece, Carthage, or Egypt, and each one of the characters start off with a bit different stats, but it's really not a whole lot of difference between the different characters. You also get to customize your character a little bit with your equipment. As you buy the new pieces of armor, each one has a variety of color schemes and types for each one, so at least you can give a little bit of a different look to your character, but it's still very basic. Some levels, the arenas will change up a bit, adding giant pits that are instant death for enemies as well as yourself, and then there's other ones that have various traps on them that will do damage to you as well as the enemies if they do run into them. Thankfully, the game does feature 3 difficulties, but the gameplay itself just really isn't a lot to keep you interested and invested for hours and hours. You'll probably get bored with it after just a little bit of time. From the technical side of things, the game didn't crash on me, but I did have a couple of glitches here and there, including one time when going into a level, everything was blurry, and then once I finished the level, it soft locked, not allowing me to do anything until I reset the game. Story of a Gladiator is available on the PlayStation 4 for $10.99. It does feature a Platinum trophy. The game is also available on the Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Story of a Gladiator is one of those games that's a nice little distraction for a few minutes, but it doesn't really provide any meaty gameplay for you to really sink your teeth into, and you'll probably get bored with it pretty quickly. With everything said, I'm going to be giving Story of a Gladiator on the PlayStation 4 a 5 out of 10. That's going to wrap up this review though. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.